right, there's something about stocks that people need to learn on a daily. That is the conversation we'll be having here on set on Lookup Business. My name is Brian Amwai, sitting in, I'm sitting in for Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. He's stepped out a little bit. Join me and keep me company for the next 1 hour as I take you through the business that are, or rather stories that have been making headlines in the business world, and also later on get into the conversation on how to get started when it comes to matters stocks. How do you start investing in that particular area? And my guest in studio is Elizabeth Nkukuku, who is the team lead Liz consultant. Will be getting into that conversation later on. But first, let's take you through some stories that have been making headlines in the business world. Now, Cabinet Secretary, Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, Aisha Juma, says her ministry will improve public service. This, she says, will start by making sure that all Huduma centers operate from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 7 p.m. And also extending incentives to public workers to motivate them.
Addressing the media after a tour at the Kenya School of Government, KSG in Mombasa, Juma said that the public service workers were a demoralized lot, adding that the sector needed proper reforms to streamline it in line with public service delivery charter.
Yeah, something needs to be done, right from their salaries and other benefits that comes with their offices. So I think mine is to making sure that I have facilitated the conversation to making sure that we are getting a point of the public service being, the morale being revamped.
Well, in line with the promises for reforms, Juma indicated that Kenyans will soon be able to receive services from all Huduma centers in the country from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., as opposed to the previous timeline of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This will be implemented through the introduction of working shifts in the sector and the recruitment of workers, as the sector has less than 1 million workers, serving a population of more than 50 million people.
Na ya kwanza ni ile ambayo nilitangaza juzi kwamba tumeongeza muda wa kuhudumia wananchi wa Kenya kutoka saa 1 asubuhi hadi saa 1 usiku. Na pia hizo huduma contact centers zote zitakuwa zinafanya kazi kutoka saa 1 asubuhi hadi saa 3 usiku kwa mfumo wa zamu. Watu watakuwa wanapokezana.
Jumwa further stated that she is in communication with other ministries to see that more Huduma centers are set up in the country, especially in the rural areas, to ensure equity in government service delivery.
Na pia vile vile tuko na mpango wa kuongeza huduma mashinani, kupeleka huduma mashinani kabisa. Na tutashirikiana na wajumbe wetu, tutawapatia mwelekeo na mwongozo wa ni vipi wanaweza kujenga huduma centers katika mashinani kabisa. Alafu zile platform na services ambazo serikali tumeshirikiana wizara kadhaa kuleta huduma kwa wananchi zikaweze kuwa katika mashinani kabisa. Hayo ndio malengo ya huduma.
Critics have challenged Juma's plans as the president announced that he plans to implement a 300 billion expenditure cut, which puts Juma's plan to increase civil services salaries and employment into question. For Lookup Business, Sandrine Mwenda.
All right, now thank you, Sandrine, for that. Moving on, telecommunication company Safaricom has partnered with popular music streaming service Boomplay to avail music service to its customers with daily, weekly and monthly bundles. Now, the partnership will see Safaricom customers enjoy Boomplay subscription bundles at discounted rates coupled with free data ranging from a daily bundle of 20 shillings with 50 MB, a weekly bundle of 120 with 300 MB, and a monthly bundle of 299 with 1.5 GB. Now, Lake Turkana Wind Power Limited has begun a 2-month emergency relief food program worth over 13 million shillings set to benefit 17,700 primary school pupils across the Lysamis constituency by providing them with a meal per day for the remaining part of the 2022 school year calendar. Now, this is stretching into 2023. Now, the move is in line with LWP's collaborative agenda that seeks to enhance the well-being of local communities.
So we are covering about 67 schools in total within Lysamis constituency, that is covering both Lengalan sub-county and Lysam sub-county, along with some a little part of Baragoi sub-county, which is south of basically ward, schools within sub-county of Baragoi, which is south of sub-location. So we have offered this food for actually 3 weeks, and we still have a remaining of another 3 weeks that we are supposed to supply come next year, the 23rd of January 2023.
Now, Trade, Investment and Industry CS Moses Kuria has said that the main goal of the national government is to revive textile industry and launch new ones. Kuria said this during a visit to Limuru for the official launch of Tilisi Company.
I want to see a Kenya whereby every Kenyan can afford decent new clothes. Yeah? Here in Limuru, Engineer Kirago, even in Misri, and farmers and Karanji, I want to see those people wearing.
So we are covering about 67 schools in total within Lysamis constituency, that is covering both Lengalan sub-county and Lysam sub-county.
Yippee! Kamata floating at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optiven's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
All right, now we want to take a look at how the markets performed, looking at the biggest losers, the movers, and also those who gained. Let's take a look at the money markets. All right, now that's as far as the news and the markets are concerned. We are about to get into that discussion after this short break that I'm about to take. Listen, we are talking about stocks. How do you get started when it comes to investing in stocks? This is a lesson that you do not want to miss. So you're going to go step by step until by the end of it all, we want you, the viewer, and also me as a person, to come out with knowledge on exactly how to start investing in stock. My guest is already in studio waiting for that conversation. We will be taking, or rather doing it in just a short while. We want to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be having that particular conversation, getting started in stocks. Yeah.
Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Maki Wambogo, Sales Manager, Lookuptv Real Estate, and I'm here at our head office, Absa Towers, located at Reuters Street. Today, I'm here to talk about our newest project, that is Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, and it is located only 10 minutes drive from Cedar Mall. And in this project, we have proposed that we will be having a GMC Entertainment Center. This will be a replica of what we have in Kitengela, GMC Kitengela. We are also proposing a police post, so you are assured that security, once you invest here, security is good. And we are also proposing to have a playing ground. We are also going to have a community ground. So once you invest here, you don't have to worry about the security. The other things, among the things that we are doing, or the things that we have done already in Great Oasis Gardens, we have already done the marking fence, and the roads, the internal roads are already happening. We have started the malaming the road, and we are still in the process of doing the malaming of the internal roads. And we are also sinking a borehole so that we ensure that our investors in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, will not struggle with water. We are also going to elevate a water tower so that we have a constant supply of water in this project. And we also have a caretaker on site. The caretaker is on site and he's there 24/7. And then we also have different sizes in this project. We are having 8, we are having quarters, we are having halves, and we are also having acres. One can buy in bulk, you can buy in big chunks, and that is why we are saying in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, we are saying that bigger is better. In this project, what you can invest in, you can invest in private schools, you can also do holiday homes, whereby you can do Airbnb, you can also do holiday homes and then you start renting, and you can also build houses and sell. You can also do apartments in this area. You can also do supermarkets. You can also build a mall and then you start renting. There is so much that you can do in this project because it is not controlled development. We are also located along Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, and this road is being proposed to be tarmacked by the government. So coming from Nanyuki, or coming from wherever you will be coming from, it will be very easy to access the project because it is touching the Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, which is going to be tarmacked by the government. My number is +254 722 355 107. Do not be left behind. Call that number. I will work with you. If you're in Kenya, give me a call. We go for the site visit. We select the plot and we start the payment. If you're in diaspora, send a representative, and I will be delighted to work with you. And as we say here in Lookuptv, we shine because you make us shine. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, now thank you so much for staying with us here on the program. This is Look Up Business, and you're just in time for this conversation that we're about to start, talking about how to get started on matter stocks and also investment, right? Remember, you can get in touch with us, so engage us on our socials at Amwai Brian on Twitter, at Kiage Simba, at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use is #LookUpBusiness. My guest is already in studio, Elizabeth Nkuku, who is the team lead, Liz Consultants, right? Yes. I got that right. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Now, Liz, thank you so much for making time for this conversation here. Just get our viewers started when it comes to matters investment. First, I think we go back a little bit and just talk about investment, why it is important to invest first and look at the options that we have. So why invest? Why is it important for a young person out there to think about investing?
Life is about options. Investments get you the options. Because many times you want to do life the way you want to do it yourself, your way. And without money, most of the time it's not easy. Yeah. So whatever success looks like, I think success, I would maybe say I want to be fit. I don't think you can be fit without necessarily at least spending something, resources that you have. Maybe if you don't have the money, it could be spending the resources that you have, which is time. Okay. And you see money and time, again, they come in together. So the reason why it is good to invest or to think about investments, and especially when you're starting, maybe your career and all this, you create a foundation that you can only grow from. So you cannot think about success without necessarily thinking about investments. Okay. Yes. So
there's no success without investment. We have to invest first. Yes. All right. Now let's look at what do we invest in? If I'm starting my career right now and I'm thinking probably I have some amount of money, probably I can spare and say, I want to invest this money so that I have a future that is, a safe future. We save for the future most of the time. Yes. So what do I invest in? What do I think about?
So when it comes to investments, 3 key things stand out, the things that you need to think about. One is the risk, the return that you're getting, and finally, how fast you can get your money. Remember, basically, the more the risk, the higher the return, or the higher the return, the more the risk. So when I come in and tell you this is what I'm going to invest and this is the return I'm going to get you, the first question that you need to ask is how? How are you going to get me this money? Because everything has to make logical sense. So it is always good to make sure that even as I invest, it's good to understand my risk levels. What is it that I can do, and I still sleep at night. Because many times you're told, yes, you're going to multiply double your money, but at times it brings so much anxiety that it is not worth it. Okay. So always start with where you are, understanding what you can do. I always suggest that look at the lesser risk investments. And the way to start, maybe you could even think about pooled funds, or you could even just, I think pooled funds and even the stock market, you can actually start small. Okay. Because most of the time, engaging the process, you understand what the do's and don'ts. So no matter how many classes you take, maybe in stock market investments, until you do it, the adrenaline moves, you may not be able to know what exactly to do. Okay. Yes.
So let's now narrow down to stock, because you say some of the investment programs that you can actually think about, probably stocks being part of it.
Yes.
Is it the suitable one? Is it one of the ones that we can look at and say, this is probably the one that young people should actually be considering most of the time?
So when you think about people and the way people have made wealth, there is a lot of people who have made money through the stock market. So the answer is yes. The question is how, and how do I make sure that I'm increasing my odds of success? Okay. So and that is the conversation we're going to have today. I need to make sure that how do I increase my odds of success in terms of what I'm investing in? Because you have 63 listed companies in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, for example, and 1 million more across the globe. So how do I decide where I want to invest, and how often do I trade this? Yes.
Okay. Let's get now to the stock. How do we start doing our investment in matter stock?
I want to take a step back in terms of when you think about a stock, it is a unit of ownership in an organization or in a company. So what that means is that as I'm investing in this company, one thing I need to understand is that I'm taking the risks involved in this organization. Okay. So I need to make sure that I understand how the micro environment is affecting them for me to know how to proceed. So before I even decide that, yes, we shall go through the process of investing in stocks, but the question is, what stock do I want to invest in? Okay. I have 63 to choose from. So how do I even narrow down? So there are three key things there are three key methodologies of deciding where to go. I could decide to be a fundamental research person driven. And that means that I will look at the companies that are going to do well under the current macroeconomic environment, and the management is right, and they have done the right things. So means that if, for example, this company is currently trading at 20 shillings, based on what is happening locally, they are going to do well. Okay. Because things are looking up to their sector. So you have to look at the macro, look at the sector, and then say which company is going to benefit from this. So let me take an example of the banking sector. What is happening currently? I think there is, yes, a lot of push for money to go to the hustlers and all that. So maybe, and I don't know how the hustler fund is really structured, but most probably they could really take it down from the banking sector. So if that is the case, and we think that the banking sector is going to do well because of what is going on, because of the many initiatives that are coming in, then I go down to the second level and ask myself, and if this sector is going to do well, which company is going to benefit better, or which one is better positioned? So I then look at my 10 companies and say, of all this, then which one? So I need to look at, is it KCB, Absa, Stanchart, and understanding the characteristics of these companies is different. So largely companies or stocks or companies are divided into two. There's a growth stock, a company that is continuously growing, innovating, and able to reap. And there is a mature company, a company that is stable, investing for dividends. So once I say this is the sector, this is the company, then I say, where do I want to invest in, which one is going to do well? That is called fundamental analysis. So you have to go from the top all the way to the bottom.
So there's so many things here you have to look at it. You can't just jump in.
No, you can't just jump in.
Okay.
So that is on the fundamental. Then I can also decide, you know what, I don't want to do all these things. I will just look at how have these companies traded in the past. Safaricom, the highest it has gone is 44, almost 45. It's trading at 25. Most probably, if things stable, they will get to 45. I don't want a lot of shenanigans. I'll just say, you know what, trend analysis, I think it will get there. If, for example, it's at 45 and then it's, I would say, let me sell and then let me weight it down. Then also you look for, again, from a perspective, once you've already said this is the sector I want to go, one of the ways to decide which company is then looking for, you compare apples for apples. So there is a way you can actually just say, yes, KCB is trading maybe today at a price of 42, and maybe Equity Bank is trading at a price of 45, for example. So instead of looking at the price, there is what the ratios that you look at, and they help you. It might sound a lot of work, but the thing is, there is a lot of people, investment banks especially, and fund managers who do this for you. So you don't have to do all this. You can actually be able to get a research report.
I can get somebody to do actually that.
You can actually get a research report and see what are they recommending. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then this thing of when probably you say in the past you could get a company that traded at 45. And right now they are at 25, so maybe the chances are they could actually get to rise. Do you then trade when they are 25 or when they are 45? When exactly is the best time? When they are at the top or when they are selling at the...
You see, you're buying and selling. So if, for example, the trend is such that you expect this company to go up, maybe you're not in that stock. You expect it to go up maybe to those levels. So at 25, then it means it's a buy. When I trend towards 45, I was like, okay, maybe that is the highest price that I think they are going to go. At that point now I sell. So you have to trade the market. So you are buying and selling at all times. You have to understand what company should I be buying, which company should I be selling, if you're creating a portfolio. So that is the right way to do it. So that is called a research way to do it. There is now the other things that you can actually just decide, how am I going to make a decision? Maybe you just decide, I like Safaricom because it's advertising everywhere. So I think they won't run away with my money, or the company is stable. So I go that way. So using your gut feel, you get a tip or something. But the best way is always to go on the research, ask yourself, which company is doing well? Because someone is not going to give you money unless they are doing well. So even as you invest, there are two things that you need to ask yourself. Am I investing in this stock? Am I investing for capital appreciation? So that is the price, I'm getting it at a price of 5, and I'm going to sell it when it gets to 10? Or am I buying it because of dividends? Dividend is the annual distribution that you get on profit. So there are companies that are better dividend stocks. There are some that are better in terms of capital appreciation. Yes. Actually there's like a question I saw today on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. There's a Facebook page, and one of the questions was like, Kengen is trading at 3 shillings and something. Do you think the results are going to make us it rally? So those are some of the questions that you always have to ask yourself. What is the corporate action around that is going to happen that is going to could affect the pricing of the stock. Yeah.
So you could actually decide whether you want to do dividends or probably later on when the shares actually do rise, I can actually do sell.
Most of the time, yes, but most of the time, again, no, because dividends comes in you're paid at most twice a year. So there are those, if you're a long-term investor, there are those things that, and you have a big portfolio, you can actually choose that yes, I'm putting my money in some of these companies because the dividend is good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the risk. Would you look at and say, now this could be risky, but it's a risk I'm willing to take?
So naturally, investment is risky. So it's just a probability of success. So asking yourself, what is it that I think is going to do well? So the starting point is, and to lay the foundation, stock markets are risky. As we speak, I think the market is down almost 20%. What that means is, if, for example, I had invested 100,000, today I could be worth 80,000. Okay. So understanding the market cycles is good. And so that you know that if the market has come down, do I understand why? The reason why maybe the stock market has come down this year could be things about the election, could be about the Ukraine, could be things about the US, really the Fed raising rates and those markets looking more attractive. And maybe what is happening, if I'm a foreign investor, I'm not able to repatriate my capital, maybe because of what we are seeing in the news. So all those things affect the performance. So understanding as an investor that yes, there are those times I will invest, and I will book a paper loss. I want to say a paper loss because the fact that the share prices have gone down does not mean that you have to sell to realize your loss. There is also a probability that the prices are going to go up. Let me give an example of Safaricom. Safaricom listed at 5 shillings. Then the price went up slightly, I think to around, I can't remember the exact price, and then came down all the way to 2 shillings, 2 shillings and 50 cents. So if someone panicked, bought at 5, went up, didn't buy, so like I'm waiting for 10, 15 shillings, then didn't sell, it came back to 2.5, or as it is coming down, you realize, hiya, let me just sell this thing. You realize the loss. But now you could as well be holding it up to today, or even have bought more at 2 shillings and 50 cents, and you're holding it at 25 shillings today also, yeah.
So when you panic midway, you could actually be making a decision that to some extent you can actually regret. So why would somebody decide to, when you know the shares do come down, why would you decide to sell at a loss?
Maybe it's panic. So one of them, when you think about investments, goal-based, the always way to look at this is how do you create a portfolio that what are you trying to achieve? Because you see, investment is about achieving goals. So if, for example, I am investing in the stock market and I've taken my daughter's school fees, na shule imefunguliwa, or the schools have opened. Then at that point, I have to sell when I have to sell, right? I don't have a lot of luxury in terms of time. So wrong investments could lead to that. Remember, many times you follow the crowd and you don't really understand why. I don't understand your journey. So at times you panic and then that you sell because you're like, okay, this money is going out. So the way to do investments and even the stock market is to understand, especially the stock market, it's a long-term game. I'm putting this portion of my portfolio that I don't need for the next 5 years. Such that if the market comes down, I'm able to actually weight it on. And even if the market comes down, I can do what is called averaging down. So if I bought at 20 shillings, the price comes to 15, I'm buying, I'm a buyer. If the price comes to 10, I'm a buyer because I believe the stock, if it's fundamentally sound, it is going to come back up. Yes. So fundamentals are important. Understanding why how the company is making money and how what is happening around is affecting them. Yes.
Let's look at between long-term investment and short-term investment. Like you say, you could be, I now believe that probably when you say matters to do with school fees, that's a short-term investment.
Yes.
Then what is the long-term investment and where do we place the young people? Which one exactly should they be going for?
Again, remember as a young person, you have a long-term horizon. But remember also your goals are also short-term, medium-term and all that. So I have a longer, naturally I will live longer if I'm 25 as opposed to someone who's 40. Just all factors considered, you can take a little more risk. So my view is if you're young, started off, it is good to start even in the stock market, but not the portion of the money that you need maybe to pay your own school fees to go to you're doing a master's or something. But you can take a small portion of your money. So first of all, to understand the operations of the stock market And then as you learn, you can actually take a little bit more risk, but you can always start where you are. The reason is the minimum amount of shares that you can buy is 100. So with 100, let's even assume a share is trading at 10 shillings, you can actually invest 1,000 to learn.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so 1,000?
Yeah.
We can start with 1,000 bob?
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, there's a lot of digitization. I think like most of the stockbrokers are actually digitized. You can actually do everything online. Yeah. So the process is start. And then as you start, you learn a lot along the way.
Okay.
But the thing is, do not buy anything. Do not buy a company that you are not even sure what is going to drive the performance.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So somebody could be looking at a company and say, okay, this one probably, watu wanaangalia wanasema eka kando kiasi, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be going for. Is that a very bad risk?
It's a very bad risk because unless you're a true speculator says, I'm just buying because it is going to go up. Where it is at 1 bob or something, it can only, at some point, even if it goes up by 10 cents, it goes to 1.10, that's 10% return. There are true people who believe like that, but I am a strong believer of fundamentals. Understand what is happening in the company, understand what is going on, because you're not investing this for now. Stock market is for the long term, and as the fortunes grow, then you are good to go.
Okay. So Liz, what's the worst that could happen to a company and my money if I decide to invest in a particular company, apart from just the stocks coming down or something like that?
I think unless it is delisted, but you still remain a shareholder.
Okay.
So there are companies that we have seen being delisted like Uchumi. So you have invested and you didn't exit, but you still hold the share. Yes, the company, the organization itself is not running, but the share is suspended. So you are not going to get your money back. So that is why it is good to understand the companies that you're investing in. The other thing is, I think there was also, other than the share price, because it's really the share price coming down. Remember, you're betting on capital appreciation. So it's very easy. I go back again to Safaricom. You bought Safaricom at 45 shillings because actually the 45 shillings when the Ethiopian story came. And then a lot of shenanigans have happened thereafter. So the share price has not been pulled to that level. So had I invested at 45, I'm holding it at 25 today. So I have lost, lost the difference. So the biggest challenge is that. I think the biggest challenge is the change in the capital, the pricing of the stocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then this, let's take a look at this. So the stocks could be high. Then you decide probably it's going to come down. So then if they are down, then there's that idea that they are going to go up. So that's, for me, I think I'll go with the one that is down so that when it goes up, it's better. Other than having it when it's high, then when it comes down, I feel like I'm going to lose.
I think it's being comfortable knowing what to do where. Because remember you started buying when it was low, right? And your bet was it's going to go higher. Let me say a bet, but it has to be a calculated bet based on fundamentals.
Okay.
But you see, you have also to be sufficiently okay. If it goes higher, be ready to sell. Maybe you have if I get maybe this price to that level. But remember, stock market people are greedy. So when it gets to, I bought at 20, I thought if I make a 10%, maybe if it goes to 30, then I'll be able to sell. There is also a probability it gets to that, you're like, hi, yeah, this trend seems to be going, let me wait on. So it goes to 35, you're like, yeah, it means like it is going to get to 45.
Yeah.
So managing your greed is also something that you need to do. In as much as we are looking at yes, buy and then sell, understand where at what point it is that you can say now, fine, let me now take my money. The other way is true. So you could be holding a stock and then it starts coming down. There is what is called a stop loss. Okay. So you tell yourself like, okay, fine, I'm holding a stock at 30. I still think that the fundamental says that it's going to go up. But remember, there are things that maybe you do not know. You're not, two same analysts looking at the same thing will give you, could give you very different valuations. So it is always good to understand that maybe there's something that you do not know. So in such situations and the price starts coming down, at least put a stop loss. You just say like, if for example, it is from 20, it is coming to 10, at that point I will sell. I do not even care, so that I reduce or I put a cap to the amount of money that I can lose on a stock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you bought it at 20, then you're selling it when it's 10. That's a loss, though.
Yes, it is a loss, but it could be worse.
Oh, we could go to 2.
Yeah, it could go to 2. So it's good to understand where your margin of safety is, and so that you see, okay, fine, even if I lost 2 bob, 3 bob, 4 bob, 5 bob, I'm okay. And remember, if you lose in one stock, doesn't mean that you won't get in the other. So when you look at stock performance, look at it in totality.
Okay.
You'll always not get it right 100%. But as long as you're getting it right more than you're getting it wrong, then you're good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned Safaricom, but it's KCB and all that. But let's look at some of the companies and how they're performing right now that you could say, if at all somebody wanted to trade at this particular moment, this exactly, if they went for this, it wouldn't be a bad bet after all.
I'm a fundamental investment person.
Yeah.
So I look at what is happening and then how to go about it. Because let's say, for example, Eveready today, I think it's still trading, if I'm not wrong. But the fundamentals of the company, I do not understand. So other than speculators who are playing in that stock, I would tell you to buy. Yes, it will go up, but I don't know why it is going to go up other than speculation. So that's why I still go back to fundamental analysis. Ask yourself which companies are going to do well under the circumstance, or which are doing well under the circumstance, right? So that is where the banking stocks remain favorites of many. Safaricom remains the favorite of many because of the size that it has. It trades of the entire, the result is called the entire market. If the market is a whole basket, Safaricom is more than 60% of that basket. So being more than 60% of that basket, foreign investors, it's a favorite of the foreign investors because they want to get in and get out. So liquidity is important. So you could also buy a stock that does not trade, such that the day you want to exit, huna mtu akuzia, you have no one to sell to. So it is also good to understand the liquidity of the company that you're actually buying into.
Okay, so trading is very important. You have to look at how it is performing, because if you don't, then you mean I can get into this and fail to get out because I'm unable to trade because nobody wants to buy?
It hardly happens, but there's a possibility. If, for example, you're buying a stock that doesn't trade, you have a problem. Like, especially the agricultural stocks, most of them don't. They're really closely held. So even in terms of market discovery, price discovery, they don't fluctuate as much, but at the same time, you might not be able to get it out when you want. But when you talk about something like Safaricom, if today I want to get Safaricom, I'll get my money in 3 days. That one I'm sure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
If I'm talking about the bank, and not all the banking stocks, I think let me talk about the banking stocks, the top ones, which are your equity, your KCB, your ABSA, all those.
Okay.
They're easy to trade. And also, now let me go again to the basket. So 60% is Safaricom. The second, I would say 20% or 30% is the banking stocks.
Okay.
So then you're left with all the others taking the rest.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how and that basket really, you see the demand and supply, because there is also not so much transacting, you might not be able, that's why the challenge of liquidity comes in.
Okay, let's get to understand, help me understand here in terms of the transaction that is happening here. When I trade today, when I buy stocks today, probably for one particular company, how long do I have to wait for me to get to sell? What is the period mostly?
So that one depends with the individual. So why am I buying this? So usually when you're buying, you're not buying to sell immediately. You definitely have to wait for capital appreciation. That's why I said it's a long-term game. So when you're buying a stock, it's good to give it time for the company to do their cycles so that you can be able to get maximum value if you're not a speculator. I'm not talking about investors, not speculators. Okay. So you have to give it 5 years or so for you to be able to get your money. But there are speculators who come in and get out. So you're really trading on the noise, whereby there's some news, and I think this is going to go up. And so you take a bet, and maybe now, you see, in terms of the actual trading, I think with the digitization, you can even do that in 2 days. And then CMA actually introduced same-day trading, whereby you can buy and settle the same day, or you can sell and settle the same day. So that is just to help the market vibrancy.
Okay. Yeah. Let me get to this. Something to do with a retail investor. Who is a retail investor first?
It is me and you.
Yeah.
So most of the people, retail, it's the individuals now. So the key players in the market are really, they're really institutional investors, and they're also the retail. So the individuals who are, who actually buy into the company. Institutional investors are like the pension schemes, the SACCOs, and even some chamas maybe would fall under those institutional investors. Then we have a lot of foreign investors coming in form of institutions. So more than 60% of the market, people who trade in the market, actually foreign investors. So it is good to understand that in terms of in the context of helping the even the country to go forward. How do we make sure that we're getting a lot of people playing in? And for retail investors, you're not investing a lot. It's really 1,000, 10,000. Though they are high net worth investors who really have big stakes in in the companies.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is just good to understand where you are and know that as a retail investor, I may be speculating on this. And I think that because based on the news that is going on, this is what is going to happen.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's take, say, now I've gotten into the NSC and I want to open an account and managing it at the same time. So what's the process of getting into that and just having an account, trading account probably, and also get to manage it?
So the starting point is as an individual, you cannot trade directly, so you have to go through a broker. Yeah, so you have
pay
to
them.
Yes, and we'll get to the fees side.
Okay.
So you have to go to a broker, open what is called a CDSC account. So this is a central depository account. Because you remember the way the thing was, initially there used to be physical shares, but all that was changed. So it's just like your bank account. So it's like your bank account of shares. So you open that through the broker, and then now you instruct the broker to buy, and you give them the pricing. I want to buy XYZ share, and this is the price I want to buy.
Okay.
At, yes.
Okay, so what would you say is the right amount of, I know you said you can start with the list is 1,000, but when I want to invest and feel good about my investment, what is the right amount to actually do it?
I would say start where you are.
Yeah.
Because the problem of most of us is we want to invest when we have a huge amount to invest.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a huge amount to invest, and it's part of personal finance, and what I've written there is you'll never have enough. You never have a big pot and say, now this one I can risk. So the issue is engaging the process. Even with that 1,000, you know why? Even if you lost that 1,000, you'll have lost the money but gained some knowledge.
Okay.
So I would say start where you are and decide what you want. The way I suggest investing, and let me actually take a step back. In terms of investing, you can actually do what we are doing today, what we are discussing, investing directly in the stock market. Directly. Me as an individual, I open a CDS account and then I am investing. You could also do this indirectly. I could say I want to invest in the stock market, but I don't want to do the actual stock pick. So I'll go to the fund manager and do that through pooled funds, and maybe that's a conversation we'll have a different day. So I could actually say, I just buy the entire, I just give it to a fund manager. They will do all the shenanigans, and then they will be giving me a return.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So in that way, then, if you select to go that route, then they have the minimum investment, and they also have their minimum lock-in period.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about having somebody help me, trade. And in terms of, you say I can't get in alone because I need a broker and things like that. If I'm going to invest 1,000 bob, do I need a broker to actually do that?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And the other thing that to understand, when you're investing in I think the costs should be about 2.something%. So that's the other thing that you need to consider. On one way, if I'm buying, I think the total costs are the most expensive, about 2.14%, because the broker fees also varies from one broker to the other, depending on the negotiated deals that you have. But that is like the regulated one. Then I'm investing 2%. Sorry, I'm being charged the total fees, because there are a couple of them: the broker, the NSE, the SCMA. There are quite a number of fees there. And anyone who wants to see the write-up, I have the write-up on my website about the investing in the stock market. So someone can just go to my personal website and be able to download that, so that you can actually see the breakdown. So you get a 2% as you buy. As you exit, you also pay 2%. Okay. So you need to make sure that as you're buying and you want to make a return, at least your share price is going to increase by 4% for you to be at least even. Okay. So let me put it into perspective. So if, for example, I'm buying, let me use a share that is trading at 20 shillings, or let me 10 shillings is easier for my mind. So I'm buying a share that is 10 shillings and I want to invest 10,000. The amount of money that will be available for me to invest is actually 9,700 and something. Okay. Right? So I'll buy the number of shares that will be in the 9,700 divided by 10, which is like 970. Isn't it? If the share price goes to 15 to 20, let's say it doubles in price, the 9,700 that I invested, at that point it will be worth around 19,000. Okay. At 19,000, I won't get the entire 19,000. Again, you take a 2%, and I will get 18,000 something. So your return will be between the 10 million that you used versus the 19. Okay. Yes.
All right, I'm running out of time on this particular conversation, but in terms of investing, somebody is local here, they're looking at the local market, and you say there's so many million, the thousands of companies that are actually registered at the international market. Which one should I go? Do I decide to go local? Do I decide to go international? Which one will you prefer?
Hey, again, it goes to the person,
Yeah.
in the individual, the individuals. The beauty about internationals, I think some of the the systems are easier to use maybe, but again, you need to look at which particular platform to use. And we have like Scope Market, which is regulated and actually is able to help you invest abroad.
Okay.
So the thing is, broaden your portfolio. Do not over-diversify, but broaden your portfolio. So I wouldn't say local or international is better. I think it's always good to start here because it helps you understand.
Okay.
But at the same time, your aim is to grow your portfolio even larger.
Okay.
But remember, the portfolio where you're investing in the stock market, it is the portfolio that you can take some little bit risk. If you lost that money, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
Yes, it's a little bit more risky. It's not as risky as maybe cryptos, but at least there's a little bit of risk that you're undertaking.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if I want to come to you and have classes on exactly how to do stocks, how many classes do I need to, by the end of the day, I'll be very ready and say, okay, now I can trade?
So the way we have done, at least consulting,
Yeah.
we have structured trainings because, and the way, not only on stocks, so we have structured our prosperity blueprint training. The way we do it is, first of all, we have to put you in the mind of investing. So we do that through what is called our blueprint fundamentals. We are currently taking the people for the month of November.
Okay.
We are starting next week. So we take you through your goal setting, because the first thing, investment is about goals. So you have to know where you want to go.
Okay.
So we go through that. Then if you want to grow holistically, then we have a longer course, which is called the internal prosperity blueprint.
Okay.
That takes us 3 months.
Okay.
Yes.
Now listen, this is a book written by you, and I'm out of time, as you can hear my director actually shouting in my hair, telling me by the way I'm out of time. What's this about? He said, Thrive, Anchoring Your Financial Freedom. Let's take a look. Just 30 seconds as we wind up.
We want you to thrive. The way to thrive is to make sure that you're making the right investment decision, personal financial decisions. That is what is summarized there. You can get a copy by emailing us, and we shall be able to deliver, or you can actually get it at Savanis or Onuria. Yes.
Email at what?
info@leaseconsulting.com.
info@leaseconsulting.com. Now, this is a long conversation. We can't actually get all of it at this particular moment, but we continue to having you right here on set every Friday, I believe.
Yes.
To some extent.
Yes.
So these are lessons that you'll continue having here on Look Up Business. Thank you so much for your time. We're talking about how to get started in Matter Stock. It's wide. We've not captured everything, but it's a conversation that we'll continue to have here on the program. Thank you so much for your time and engaging us on our socials. Have yourselves a lovely afternoon, and I wish you the best of weekends. Let's do this again next time. My name is Brian Amwai. My guest in studio was Liz Nkuku. Thank you.